to September 2008. I am at the New York State Military Museum in Saratoga Springs, and I am doing a telephone interview with Walter Taylor. Mr. Taylor, for the record, would you please state your full name, your date and place of birth, please?
Walter J., middle initial for Joseph, Taylor. I'm 84 years old. I was born on Staten Island, November the 8th, 1923, and lived there for much of my life.
Okay. Now, you attended school there?
Yes, I went to Curtis High School, graduated from there.
What year did you graduate?
1942.
Okay. And do you remember where you were and what your reaction was when you heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Well, if I remember correctly, it was a Sunday. And of course, that's back before television. We didn't have our radio on in the house, but my brother had been visiting with somebody, and he came home, he'd heard it on the radio, and told us that Pearl Harbor had been bombed.
Okay, and what was your family's reaction?
Well, surprisingly, back then, everybody had a feeling that this was coming, because what was happening, events were leading up to this, so there wasn't really that much surprise.
Okay, and now were you drafted into the, well, I see you went into the Merchant Marine, so...
Yeah. No, I wasn't drafted.
Okay. All right, and I see you went in 1944.
Yeah.
What did you do from the period, the time that you graduated until...
Well, I tried to enlist, but they had stopped enlistments, so I got a job. I worked part-time on the dock on Staten Island, handling cargo, longshoremen.
Okay.
And it was, to give you background on this, I'd always wanted to join the Merchant Marine, but they wouldn't take me at the Merchant Marine Academy because my eyesight wasn't that good. So anyway, I had to fill out a questionnaire for the draft board. Had to do with my personal hobbies and what have you. And one of them was amateur radio. I had an amateur radio license, even though I couldn't use it. You couldn't back then. So I put that down on the form, and they called me up and told me what I liked, that the Merchant Marine needed men badly, and would I be interested in joining. And of course I jumped at it. I said yes. I said, but I have to get a commercial license. So they put me in touch with a school in New York, Maritime Trade School, which was being run by the city of New York. I didn't know anything about it. So I went over, signed up, took the course, got my commercial license, and a couple of days later I shipped out.
Now, did the government pay for you to go to the school?
No, I got nothing from the government, zero.
Okay. All right. So, what was the name? Let's see, you went in on September the 26th of 44.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, if you gave me credit for my school time, which they didn't do for us, you could back that up several months.
Okay. All right. And do you remember what the name of the ship was?
Oh, yes. I've got all of the records. It was the Ryder.
Okay.
R-Y-D-E-R.
And what kind of ship was that?
It was a Liberty ship. And I was sent down to Baltimore, Maryland, to catch her.
Okay. And what kind of cargo did you carry?
We were carrying war cargo, full cargo down in the holds of the ship, and then I think we had some tanks and planes on deck.
Okay. Did you carry any military personnel?
No, well, only the armed guard, the Navy armed guard.
Okay.
That was usually a lieutenant and about 5 or 6 gunners.
Okay. So your ship had armament on it?
Well, yeah, we had a couple of guns. I don't know whether they were 4 or 5 inch guns. I think you had, if I remember correctly, there was one on the stern, one on the bow, and then there was some machine guns.
Okay.
To fight off airplanes.
Okay. And your first trip out, what was that like?
Well, it was fascinating. I was the assistant radio officer. I was number 2 man. Of course, I couldn't sail on my own until I'd had 6 months experience. And we left Baltimore down to Norfolk, joined a 100-ship convoy bound for Alexandria, Egypt. And, well, you know, I was a kid, first time really away from home by myself. I wasn't scared or anything. It was just all new to me, and kids at that age don't have enough sense to be scared. And anyway, we were going along the 100-ship convoy. We were the lead ship in one of the convoy lanes, and about 100 miles west of Gibraltar, our steering gear broke down, and we swung over into the next lane and hit a ship, the Zachary Taylor, and didn't do any damage to her. But what I found out later, my boss told me, because he had a copy of the cargo plan, the Zachary Taylor was carrying ammunition in one of her holds. And not the one we hit, because if we'd have hit that particular hold, we would have blown the convoy into a million pieces. Well, anyway, we had to drop out of the convoy, and the Commodore sent a Corvette to stand by us until we made repairs, and we were able to get the steering gear fixed, and we rejoined the convoy. And then when we got off the African coast, ships began to drop out. They're going to various places. And we went to Alexandria, and coming up on the dock in Alexandria, it was almost like the scene out of Arabian Nights, or Kipling, you know. They were all these Egyptian Saracens, all, you know, dressed certainly different than we are. And Egypt was pretty much under British control. So you had all these British soldiers of the various regiments, you know, famous in history. So it was really exciting, very exciting. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Alexandria, we spent a couple of weeks in Alexandria, and I was able to go to Cairo. Got a couple of days off, took off from Cairo, visited up there, the pyramids and the Sphinx and all that other good stuff. So I really enjoyed it. And then we started back to the States.
Now, was your ship empty at that point?
Yeah, we had discharged full cargo in Alexandria.
Okay. Now, did you get sick, seasick at all?
No, I've never been seasick in my life.
Okay.
But I've seen fellas get seasick, and it must be terrible.
Yeah.
And then we headed back toward the States, or first to Oran, North Africa, that's in Algeria, to pick up the convoy. Of course, Oran was where they made up the convoys going back to the States. And we got off nice people. We didn't have an air attack.
So
then went to, got the steering gear fixed, went to Oran, picked up a convoy, and came back to the States.
okay. All right. Now, when your ship pulled into port, and you weren't operating the radio equipment, did you have any other duties at all?
No, I was pretty much free to do what I wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I liked the job.
Uh-huh.
I was definitely free in port.
Now,
my boss is a pretty good guy, and he says, go ahead and do what you want to do.
okay.
He and I go ashore together a lot.
Okay. Now, when you were out on the seas, I mean, did you sit by a radio all day long? Or?
Well, yeah, we stood watches, usually stand a 4-hour watch, and then you get 8 hours off.
Okay.
And my boss was a good guy to work for, and he showed me the ropes because he was a veteran.
Uh-huh.
And been at it for a long while, and I learned an awful lot from him.
Now, was it mostly Morse code?
Yeah, it's all CW, yeah, Morse code.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And on your second trip, once you went back to the States, where did you go for?
Well, I got another job, Liberty ship, and the same boss, because I met him in a union hall, and he asked me if I'd like to ship out with him again, and I said sure. And this time we loaded, I forget now where we loaded, might have been Baltimore again, and headed for Italy. We went to Naples, and then up to Livorno, Leghorn. And that was, there was a lot of fighting up in that area. The Germans had been pushed out of the city, but they had, but before they left, they had planted about 50,000 landmines all around the city. So it was very dangerous going ashore. An army guy came down and told us when we got in that if we went ashore, to walk right down the middle of the street, don't get over on the sides, so you're apt to step on a mine and get blown to kingdom come. So we had to be very careful where we went, and they were using German prisoners to dig the mines up and to put them out of business. But that was the scariest part of the whole job, was trying to navigate without stepping on a mine. And then we discharged cargo.
Now, what kind of cargo was it at that?
This was also war cargo.
Okay.
And we went, as I said, we went first to Naples, and then from Naples up to Leghorn, or to Livorno.
Okay.
And then after we discharged cargo, we headed back to the States. And on the way back, in convoy, we were detached from the convoy and sent down to Cuba, to the south coast of Cuba, Manzanillo, to load a cargo of sugar. They had run out of sugar in New York, in the, I think it was the Jack Frost sugar refinery. And so we were ordered out, or detached from the convoy, sent down there to load sugar. We loaded, I guess about 10,000 tons of sugar, and then started for New York, running alone without convoy. And of course, the war was winding down, so it was the Atlantic, the western Atlantic, was considered pretty much submarine-free. But that wasn't the case. We were rounding Guantanamo Bay, and we were ordered into Guantanamo Bay for convoy, because what was happening is that there was a flurry of submarine activity off the East Coast. They sunk several ships. And this is right near the end of the war. So we picked up a convoy. They made up a convoy in Guantanamo Bay, and we headed for New York. And got into New York, I think the day after VE Day.
Oh.
The war had just ended.
What was that like? Was there a lot of celebration?
Oh yeah, the people were still celebrating. Everybody was happy that the war was over, and everybody was in good spirit.
Did you get any leave time at that point?
Yeah, I took a couple of weeks off and then shipped out again.
Okay. Let me ask you, before VE Day happened, do you remember hearing about the death of President Roosevelt?
Yes, I don't know how he got word, but the purser we had on the ship, the purser's a fellow that took care of the ship's business.
Yes.
He came into the radio room and told my boss and I that Franklin D. Roosevelt had died and Harry Truman had become president. Well, most everybody never heard of Harry Truman. But anyway, we found that out, yes.
Okay. All right, and after VE Day, you shipped out again. Were you?
Oh yeah.
Were you heading for the Pacific at all?
No, heading back. They took a lot of Liberty ships. They were beginning to bring the guys home from Europe. So they fixed up a lot of Liberty ships as troop ships. So I sailed on several of those, made several trips over to Europe to pick up troops, guys that were coming back.
Okay.
Most of the soldiers coming back, the guys that I talked to didn't like it. They said the worst part of the war was coming home, because they were down in the cargo hold of the ship.
Oh yes.
Of course, rolling around and really scary, you know, for them. They said that was the worst part of the whole war, was just getting home. So I sailed several of those, and that was mostly in and out of Europe.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, you had to be careful also when you got over around Europe, mines. Of course, the Germans had planted a lot of mines around in the North Sea and in through that area. So you had to be very careful that you didn't hit a mine.
Okay. Any close calls or incidents like that?
Not really. We saw a couple of mines off in the distance and gave them a wide berth, of course. I think they're still finding occasional mines over there down to this day.
Wow. Now, where were you when the Japanese finally surrendered?
Let's see. I was at sea. I guess I was probably in Europe.
Okay. All right. And once the war had ended and the troops were brought back home, you opted to stay in the Merchant Marine?
Yeah, I stayed. I went to work for Saucony Vacuum, which is now Mobil. That's the Mobil part of Exxon Mobil.
Okay.
The old Standard Oil Company of New York. So I went to work for them, and I stayed with them up until I retired.
Okay, and basically, did you do the same type of work?
Yeah, I was a radio officer, plus a single radio officer had one on the ship. And I was also purser. We did all of the ship, took care of all the ship business.
Okay.
They were a great company to work for.
Okay. And you retired, and when did you retire?
I retired, first let me tell you why I retired. I had 25 years in, and my first wife died, and I had 2 small kids. So I decided I'd take my retirement, because we had 20-year retirement, just like the armed services. So I took my retirement to come home and take care of the kids. Of course, they were both small. Otherwise, I would have stayed. I had no intention of retiring. And this was January, I think I officially retired, 1969.
Okay. All right, and you were still a fairly young man at that point.
Then I was 45 years old.
Okay. And did you take up another career?
Well, I don't know what you call it a career. I went back and worked for a while over at Fort Newark in the office of Sealand, you know, the big ship company. Worked there for a while, and then, I was a widower for 5 years, and I remarried a woman I knew down here in North Carolina. She was my wife's first cousin. You see, I was very familiar with this area. My mother was from this area.
Oh, I see.
And so it wasn't a foreign place to me. And then I moved down here. And I did various jobs around here. I worked for Sangamo Electric as technician on meters, calibrating electrical meters. I worked with that for a while, did a couple of other jobs, but nothing ever compared to the Merchant Marine.
Okay. Did you ever make use of the GI Bill at all?
We weren't eligible. We got screwed. That's the best word I can find to describe that.
Okay.
We are still fighting to get our just desserts. There's a bill in Congress now. We got nothing. Not a damn thing. And we had to sue to get veteran status, which we got, but that's all we got. We didn't get any GI Bill or anything like that.
Okay. All right.
And this has left bitter memories for every man that served in the Merchant Marine in World War II.
Yes.
On treatment by the government.
Okay. Did you stay in contact with anyone that you've served with over the years?
Oh yeah, I got active here in ham radio, and we had a net, we called it, the old Merchant Marine guys. We'd all get together every morning and talk, you know. We used, of course, CW, code, Morse code.
Yep.
And, but now they've all died off. I guess I'm one of the last ones left. And so I'm not active on the ham radio like I used to be.
Okay. How do you think your time in the Merchant Marine changed or affected your life?
Oh, it did it dramatically. It was an education in itself. Saw many parts of the world, many, what to me were strange places. The comradeship, I'll tell you, if I could pick and choose my neighbors, where I live, my neighbors, they'd all be seamen. They are the salt of the earth. They're, contrary to popular belief, most of them are pretty well educated, self-educated, most guys. They would gladly give up their life to save yours, and you felt the same way about it. A man
you visited?
Well, let's see. I'd have to think about that for a while. I guess I like going to the British ports. Britain, probably, because, number one, they spoke English. And, but there's a lot of good, nice places around the world, especially Europe. I made a lot of trips to the Middle East. Not one of my favorite places.
Okay.
But I'd say Europe, anywhere in Europe.
Okay.
Britain.
Did you ever get out to the Far East?
Not too far into the Far East, no. A lot into the Persian Gulf area, the Indian Ocean, and around through there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Oh, that about sums it up. I can't think of anything else of earth-shaking importance.
Okay.
I'm not surprised at what's happening in the Middle East. You could see that coming years ago. I didn't think they'd get as violent as they have, but also, most of my time over in that area, it was still British. Then the British did a wonderful job keeping the peace. They may have been a little bit high-handed and arrogant about it at times, but by God, they kept the peace. But the British Empire's gone. Now, everything is sort of falling apart. Yeah. But that about sums it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your interview.
Well, thank you, sir.
And I'm going to stop the tape.